Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan. It's been a while, a couple of weeks since I've done a whiskey review. I left off with we're going to start back in on the Weller and the E.H. Taylor small batch head-to-head comparison review. Been watching the last couple of videos. Those were comparisons between the Stags, the Four Roses, I don't know, something else. Anyways, um, so it's a little bit later on down the road here. It is June something, June 25th, 2025. Just found this in my local store here. This is a Wyoming whiskey product. Picked it up for $63.49. It's Wyoming whiskey, Buffalo Bill Cody, straight bourbon. It's coming in at a 6-year age statement and is ringing in at 48.5% ABV or 97 proof. So just shy of 100, which, let's see here, their standard small batch is ringing in at 88. That's a 5-year age stated product. And let's see here, the last, uh, some of the last releases that I have are like this Integrity. That's a 7-year age stated product. They're all kind of coming in right around the same price. And man, they're just making really good whiskey in that 5 to 7 year range. I do have their 10th anniversary edition. That's a 10-year product. And I have to say, so for 60 some odd dollar bottle of whiskey, it's pretty fantastic whiskey. This particular bottle I've dipped into the last 2 nights, and super, super rich caramel milk, caramel creamy, kind of like that candy. It's a caramel thing on a stick. I don't know if it's called a sugar daddy or I don't remember what it's called, but haven't seen one in a long time. But it's just basically caramel on a stick, and it's really rich, creamy, and sweet like that. They're kind of knocking it out of the park as far as the sweet notes go. There's some good oak underneath that, so we'll get into that as we taste this here. And also, the interesting thing with this is 97 proof, but man, the first two glasses I had, it was ringing a lot hotter. It was drinking, the 110 kind of realm for me personally. Granted, I had been on a semi hiatus um, of drinking for like a week or two when I tried it, but still, I mean, I was drinking some Remus right before it. So Remus Repeal, I think it was batch that I was drinking, and that's 100 proof, and it doesn't drink anywhere near as hot as what this one did. So we'll see how it goes here. And like I said, I picked this up locally for $63.49 plus tax, so $67.30. But was really, really happy with it. So we'll get into this. And then the next couple of videos are going to be the comparison videos. Man, just opening this thing, I can smell it. It smells absolutely fantastic. Um, but yeah, so 6-year age stated product. It seems that it's more or less the same whiskey. Um, I mean, the profiles aren't extremely different between all these limited releases, the national park releases, um, even their private stock releases, which are the barrel picks that they do. The proofs are a lot higher on those, but like the flavor profile is not very different. I will say I have a single barrel down there. I was not overly impressed with the single barrel. It was good, but all these other releases, from my memory, it's been a long time since I've had it, were way better at $30 cheaper or so. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. But man, again, other than the Outrider, they've been hitting with all of them, even the single barrel that I had. And because it's a single barrel, it's pretty hard to put that against anything else just because, every barrel is going to be different. So um, let's get into this because, like, when I poured it, I smelled it, and it was just a sweet caramel bomb. There's an apple, a very nice Honeycrisp apple in there. Sweet caramel, a dark brown sugar. What else we getting on it? There's a little bit of an oak sourness, like freshly cut oak sour in there, but it's pleasant. It's not a negative or a knock on it at all. But sweet notes. All the notes are brown sugar, caramel. Like that's kind of what's dominating the glass. You got this really nice sweet Honeycrisp apple, freshly cut Honeycrisp apple, um, with caramel, brown sugar. Those are what I would say dominate it. Going on the palate, yeah. Once again, there's a huge rush of flavor profile. Um, so in the first couple of beats, lots of sweet stuff, lots of fruits. Then it hits into a nice oak with just a slight tannin to it that is so well balanced with all the sweet notes that even as a person who doesn't like that slight bitterness, it balances out absolutely perfectly well. But there's a rush of proof that shows up right at the same time. So it's like the whole flavor profile was condensed into the first 2 or 3 seconds of that sip. I will say this, like last night, as I sat and drank it over the course of 15-20 minutes, um, the proof went down, and the depth and richness of that caramel really came through, and it just kept sitting in that realm. Like it really got dense in that category. Um, it was really rich, creamy, and oily, clingy up front, which is odd to say because by the second count, it was gone, and the proof was kicking in, and the proof like washed all that oily clinginess away. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a root beer float up front where you got like that good creaminess, and then as soon as you swallow it, like if you were to take a sip of water to wash your mouth out, boom, gone. And that was when the proof hit. But the lingering aftertaste was really that nice oak mixed with some of that proof and a nice little underlying sweetness to it. So I like it. And just like last night, that caramel is building in the glass as the ethanol is starting to tamp down. So it's really nice. That fruit flavor is starting to, or fruit flavor, that fruit nose is starting to switch from an apple, slightly leaning into a cherry. Second sip there, a lot slower on the flavor profile that time. So up front, those rich caramel, brown sugar, leaning into honey in that mid palate, kind of sweetened up with some oak and a little bit of marshmallow. Um, and then picking up that oaky tannin bitterness on the back end of that. Um, but again, super well balanced. There's a sweet note that is actually stronger than the oak, and so those two go really balanced into the night for me. And that proof seemed to hit a little bit lower the second time around, where it wasn't just dominating that flavor profile. It seemed like in the first sip, the proof kind of washed out that lingering finish, whereas now I'm just getting this really nice oak complexity on the back end of it, and absolutely loving that. Which, if you've watched this channel at all, you know that's not something that I typically say. So, um, yeah, it's just an extremely well balanced. So this, I was told when I bought it, was a collector's edition, and the gal that sold it to me, she was like, "Oh, you should hang on to that." And I said, you know me, uh, I don't really hang on to my whiskey. I drink it. So maybe we'll buy a bottle or two of this. One for me, one for my hunting partner, maybe a couple of their friends. Because it is really that good, and for $63, I hate to make it sound like that is a good price these days because it's still expensive. The world is very expensive now, and we're starting to see the price of whiskey, price of bourbons and stuff starting to turn over, sit on shelves. So it's very, very, very slowly starting to come down. Um, my hope and my bet is in the next 2 years, as the economy gets worse, you're gonna start to see prices on things come back down. Hopefully, we've seen a flurry of LE, limited edition stuff, and all kinds of new experiments and things in the last couple of years. Hopefully, those things continue because they're already been put in barrels, you know, 5 years ago when everything was going crazy. And so for years to come, hopefully we'll have those sitting on the shelves, but at prices that everybody can pick up and enjoy. And I think people are just kind of starting to get burned out. I know I am, like I said, I mean the reason why these videos have been so sporadic in their drops has been like I'm just cutting down on buying whiskey. I got $12,000 worth of whiskey sitting down here, which is an insane thing to say. And you know what? I just decided I'm gonna hone in on only buying the bottles that I really know and like, and things like this that I'm like, I know I like Wyoming whiskey. I'll take a gamble on that. That's worth it to me for 60 something bucks. Um, these stags, if I'm still able to get those for 40, 50 bucks, you're darn right, I'm gonna buy those. Weller, maybe I might buy. The E.H. Taylors I'll buy. I'm out when it comes to Blanton's. Blanton's keeps creeping up. I think the last one I paid was either $65 or $75 for a Blanton's. That's at the place where I used to get them for 46 bucks. Yeah, I'm out at that price. I'm not paying that much for Blanton's when I can get E.H. Taylor for 45 bucks. Um, and let's see what else. Some of that kind of stuff. So like that's what I'm gonna do is like I'm starting to hone in on things that I know that I like and spending my money on that. So hopefully you guys can go back through all my videos and start looking at stuff and starting to decide what it is you think you like, and then focus on that and enjoy that, and every once in a while pull something off the shelf and to give it a try something new. There's never been more whiskey on the shelf than there is right now. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of different brands out there, craft people, non-distillers out there that are just blending stuff or aging stuff or just bottling stuff for that matter. But there's tons of good whiskey on the shelf. So from that standpoint, it's great and fun to go out and experiment and try new stuff. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with sticking with what you know either. So there you go. Whew, that is just boom, caramel candy right in the dome right there. That is awesome. And the taste finishes out with that. It's just rich, heavy caramel. The oak picks up in the middle of the palate and just finishes it out for me on that one. Um, yeah, there's all kinds of just nice, sugary, sweet notes in there. So if you like sweet bourbon, with a well balanced oak profile, if you can find it, I have no idea where they're releasing this stuff, but here in Wyoming, the Buffalo Bill Cody from Wyoming Whiskey, it's a fantastic buy, especially at the 60. And I'm guessing like Casper, this might be 50 or $60. I don't know. They seem to be about $10 cheaper than where I can find it here. But there you go. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy this. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It's probably not as awesome because I'm not releasing new content every couple of days like I was. But you know what? If you find that you're getting any kind of benefit out of this, please feel free to drop in the comments and subscribe. I'm not making any money off this channel. Everything's coming out of my pocket. Unlike a lot of other channels have enough of a presence that like distilleries are sending them whiskey to try and stuff. That's not the case for me. I'm buying it all and doing it all myself. So, um, yeah, hopefully you guys are getting some out of it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're gonna do Weller next, and yeah, you guys have yourselves a great day. Catch you in the next video.